Amina's Voice by Henna, Chapter 3. Settle down and take your seats, everyone, commands Mrs. Barton after the bell rings. She stands with her hands on her hips, dressed in a ruffled shirt with a high collar and a long skirt. Today we are beginning our new unit on the pioneers of the American West. Is that why you're wearing that? Luke says it like he's sincerely interested, but everyone except for Mrs. Barton knows he's making fun of her. Yes, exactly. This outfit is just like the ones pioneers used to wear in the mid 1800s. You all need to get into character because you're going to race across the country to Oregon by wagon train in teams of 4. Wait, so we have to dress up? Bradley asked in a worried voice. No, Bradley, Mrs. Barton sighs. What I mean is, you have to pretend you are a pioneer and think like one. We're doing a modified version of the classic Oregon Trail game. I was telling your parents last night that in this project you'll learn how to overcome challenges like food shortages, natural disasters, and diseases. I'm sitting at the desk next to Sujin. I nod at her and mouth, "We got this." We always work on projects together, and we're thrilled when we got our schedules during orientation and saw that we had 3 of our classes together: social studies, music, and science. Pick your groups, everyone. If you can't do it quietly, I will pick them for you. Then get to work on this introductory exercise. As she speaks, Mrs. Barton passes around sheets of paper. Who else do you want in our group? I asked Sujin. We can ask Emily. Sujin points to where Emily is standing alone, scanning the room. Emily? Seriously? Come on, Amina. She doesn't have a group, and we're not in elementary school anymore. I'm stung by her words, but before I can even give in, Sujin already has waved Emily over. Do you want to be with us? She offers. Emily is visibly relieved. Thanks, guys. Emily smiles at me, but I just manage to purse my lips together and nod. I don't understand. Doesn't Sujin remember all the crappy things that Emily has done for the past few years? Like the time she pinched her nose and squealed while Julie said something smelled like it had died when Sujin brought kimchi in her lunch. Or when they both scoffed at us and said, "Speak English, you're in America," while we were teaching each other phrases in Urdu and Korean. Or worst of all, when she and Julie spread a rumor at school that Sujin's parents served dog meat at their downtown Milwaukee restaurant, Park Avenue Deli. Luke would bark under his breath every time he passed Sujin for months. Why is Sujin acting like none of those things matter anymore? Oh, good. You guys are a group of 3? Here, Bradley, join these girls. Mrs. Barton thrust Bradley Landry toward us. And this time, the 3 of us look at one another with alarm. Bradley's the kid who can't sit still for more than 5 minutes. In 2nd grade, he was forced to sit on a chair during circle time so he wouldn't start to roll around on the ground or poke the person next to him. And in 4th grade, he actually stuck his pen into the electrical socket while sitting on the carpet, got zapped, and was taken to the hospital in an ambulance. Sit with your groups for the next 20 minutes and come up with a strategy for the first exercise, Mrs. Barton calls out. I watch with dread as Bradley drags his chair over to my desk. Sujin and Emily bring theirs to form a rectangle. Let's do this. Bradley leans in too close to me, since he doesn't seem to understand personal space. I slide my chair away from him and start reading the handout, which describes our 20-foot wagon and lists the supplies we can choose for our trip out west. Our first task is to pick items to stock the wagon with using the money we have. It's critical that we stay within the weight limit, or our oxen will be overtaxed. We definitely need sugar, Bradley starts. He holds the list close to his nose and slams it down on the table and then points at the supply list. Sugar is a luxury, I protest. We need flour more than sugar to survive. But I can't live without sugar, Bradley shakes his head. Hey, do you guys have any candy in your desk? I shrug, but Emily speaks with authority. No, Bradley, we don't. Why don't you make a list of the clothes you need to bring? At the end of the 20 minutes, after arguing for most of it, our group barely manages to complete our supply list. We let Bradley have some sugar in exchange for his agreeing to buy flour and a cast iron pan. As time runs out, I scribble down the list, as exhausted as if I had actually loaded a wagon with hundreds of pounds of goods. Good job, everyone, Mrs. Barton claps her hands. We'll start our journeys on Monday. See ya, partners. Bradley slides his chair back to its usual spot, and I pack up. When the final bell rings, I rush out of the room, ready to strategize with Sujin about how we're going to deal with this group and still win the race. Then someone calls out, "Wait up!" Emily catches up to us, breathless. That was fun. I think we have a good chance at winning, she says as she falls into step next to Sujin. Yeah, if Bradley doesn't get us all killed first, Sujin reminds her. It sucks we have to work with Bradley. He's so weird, Emily says. Did you guys see what he was doing at lunch? He spread ice cream all over his pizza. It was so nasty. Yeah, I mumbled. And didn't he say all that weird stuff to your mom in second grade? Emily continues. What did he say? Sujin asked, turning to me. You never told me. It was right before you moved here. In second grade, my mom came in and volunteered to do reading drills with one kid at a time. When it was Bradley's turn, he said, I'm going on a date with Amina's mom. Isn't that so weird? Emily interrupts. He rides my bus and is always getting in trouble. She keeps talking, so I don't get to finish the rest of my story. How Bradley also told Mama that he loved her and that he couldn't wait for their second date. Mama laughed and told Baba about what had happened with the funny little kid that night at dinner. But Baba immediately turned to me and said, Stay away from that boy. Now I was stuck with Bradley every afternoon for as long as this project lasted 6 whole weeks. As Emily continues to speak, I trail behind them, listening to their conversation. Do you want to come over after school next week? We could work on our project or think of more names for you if you want. Yeah, sure, maybe, Sujin answers when we reach her locker. Okay, great. Emily nods at me, looking puzzled. I realize I'm staring at her blankly. See you guys on Monday. Bye, Sujin replies as I wait for Emily to leave. Don't you think it's strange? I finally say as she walks away. I'm embarrassed and feel petty, but I can't stop the words that are rattling around in my head from coming out. What do you mean? Sujin asks. All of a sudden, Emily is acting like she wants to be best friends with you or something. She's not so bad, Amina, Sujin puts on her new, mature middle schooler voice. Maybe you should give her a chance. What for? I want to ask, but I don't have the nerve. Every time I see anything about Emily, I get the same feeling of disapproval from Sujin, even though I'm not the one acting different. We both felt the same way about Emily and Julie for so long, and I still feel the same. Suddenly, I just want to get home as quickly as possible and start the weekend. I say a quick goodbye to Sujin and walk to my bus, turning my head to avoid Bradley as he rushes by to catch his bus. I catch a glimpse of a blast from the past poster and the huge words, Sign Up, underneath seem to scream out, You're a chicken, to me. Everything about this past week, from wishing I were singing in the concert, to being in the worst pioneer wagon, to wondering why Sujin and Emily are acting so chummy, is making me wish I never left elementary school.